Hey everyone, my name is Laurie McCarver. I am a person in long-term recovery. What that means for me is that it's been since March 25th, 2011, since I've used any mind or mood-altering substances. I am the Outcomes Coordinator at Acceptance Recovery Center.
Hi everybody, it's Jamie, and this is Recovery Inspired Hope. And guess what, you guys? It's Lauren's birthday today. We got her here bright and early. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
It's beautiful Friday morning.
It's so early.
It's very early. So Lauren and I were in a training yesterday, Trauma-Informed Care, with Pam Brooks Crump and Rosalind Hayes and Karen Daniel. And it was so good. So we decided that it would be a great idea for us to come and talk to you guys about it, let you know a little bit about looking through the lens of trauma-informed care, and about some of the cool stuff that we learned.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, so the first thing that it talked about in our class is, does trauma matter? And it says that research shows that most of us who use the public behavioral health system or who have used it in the past have been exposed to some form of trauma at some time in our lives. Many of us have experienced trauma more than once. So if so many of us are impacted by trauma, then why are we not talking about it?
Right.
Absolutely.
So I think there's a lot of shame and guilt that comes with it, and also embarrassment. I know for me and my own trauma, it was like it was embarrassing, to admit that I was weak. And it through trauma-informed care, through therapy, and just through my network, I realized that I am not weak. And I'm not my trauma.
Yes, I love how you said that. I am not my trauma.
I am not my trauma.
Yes.
That does not define me. And that it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to talk about it.
Yes.
And if anything, it's healthy. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And we say, I hear a lot in recovery that, trauma is a gateway.
Yeah, sure.
To substance use. And, we had to write this little thing about trauma in our class. And for me, when I was thinking about it, I was like, the substances numbed the trauma.
Absolutely.
Numbed the memories, numbed the shame and the guilt. And it affected every part of my life, relationships with other people, all the way to my self-worth and confidence, my physical body, because as a massage therapist, I know for sure that people store emotions and trauma in their body.
Right.
It is fact, and I am the expert, and I'm telling you, it is true.
Yeah, I think, too, after the trauma that I experienced, I came to see you very often.
Yes.
And worked some of that out through massage, which was amazing. But the trauma that we endure, before recovery, and then even sometimes in recovery, I think that's the hardest I think that's the hardest is enduring trauma while you're in recovery. And for me, it was like I'm doing everything right.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. I'm living my life through integrity. I have a network. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do for my personal recovery. And like, why did it happen to me?
Right.
Yes. And it took a while, but it was like, well, why not me? Maybe I am strong enough to deal with it, and to get past it, and then use that to help others and be comfortable about talking about trauma and making it okay.
Yes, absolutely. Now, we got this paper here, this whole pamphlet, which is so informative, and something that I really wanted to read as it says, trauma, what is it? Trauma shapes and informs our interactions with ourselves and others. It has a profound effect on our body, mind, and spirit, often resulting in isolation, disconnection, learned helplessness, shame, rage, self-loathing, and adverse physical conditions, including poor health and addiction. Traumatic events can be shocking and terrifying. These events can include violence between people, abuse of any kind, neglect, institutionalization, disasters of war. Trauma often involves betrayal by a trusted person or institution. Healing from trauma is possible for all. That experience is transformative. And, the thing that when we were going through this, and I was looking at all these effects of trauma, it really was so closely related to substance use disorder.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's almost like, we had to do this thing where, we're looking at these behaviors, right, through like a behavioral health model, and then looking at like symptoms of substance abuse, and it's like they were like the same.
Yeah.
And that was just so profound to me.
I think for me, that's a powerful definition of trauma. And where it says like trauma is likely comes from someone who's a trusted institution, trusted person.
Yes.
That hits hard, because it's where you least expect it.
Yes.
You're like, what happened?
Yeah.
And
yes.
That whole definition like sums up everything. And I saw something this morning that was substance use, mental health, all of that stuff. The medicines, right? Are all the Band-Aids.
Yes.
But what about the bullet hole? Right. And so the trauma is the bullet hole, right?
Yes.
And I sat there with it, and I'm like, wow.
Yes.
What do you do to fix the bullet hole?
Exactly.
It
goes back to that question. I love that question that they asked when they said, instead of saying what's wrong with you, say what happened to you. And it makes me think of like all my years in therapy. It's like they never asked what happened to me. They were like, oh, this is what's wrong with you, and this is what medicine we're going to give you, or this is what's wrong with you, and this is what you need to do. Yeah. And it was always such a clinical approach, and never like the holistic whole health, whole body approach.
Right. Yeah. And I found what I found was, the trauma exacerbated my mental health, right? Which is something that I've kind of like shoved under the couch for a while. It was like, I don't need medicine. I'm okay. I got my recovery community.
Yes.
I'm clean. I'm not using. I'm not putting anything else on top of it. But what was I doing to address my mental health? Right. And so when I experienced my most recent trauma, it really exacerbated my mental health, like, mental health breakdowns, like, crawling under a rock, locking myself in the house, not wanting to be outside, not wanting to be around people, not really wanting to even speak. And, having the ability and the opportunity to address my mental health and actually talk about that part, help to dress the bullet hole and pack it, and so that void that I was feeling, it wasn't just the trauma. It was everything before that too, that I hid for so long.
Yes.
And I think even that is a traumatic experience of hiding.
Yes.
Right? So
Wow. It really is. Wow. And I think it's great that we're talking about this, because not only do we need to, we're on a continuous fight, stomping out shame and stigma in substance use disorder. But now we're taking it even further. We're taking it through mental health. We're taking it through trauma. And, it's okay to have things going on inside of you. Yeah. It's okay, even at, how long do you have sober now? 9.5 years. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I just hit 5 a couple months ago. You know what I mean? We still need help. Yeah. So what do you think is like the biggest thing that we can tell people, if they need some kind of healing in here and they don't know how to go about it? Well,
one, that it's okay to not be okay. And to be comfortable in our own skin. I know that was the hardest thing for me, was to be able to sit in that experience. Like, I don't want to keep referring to it as trauma, because yes, it was a trauma, but it was an experience in itself.
Absolutely.
Right? Yes. And being able to find the silver lining in that experience, and the only way I was able to do that was through help. Right? And I had a hard time asking for help. So it was more of the, you're gonna go here and this is what you're going to do, because I needed that. At 9 years clean, 8 years clean,
Yeah.
I needed someone to tell me what to do. And so for me, if I were to tell anybody anything, it would be that it's okay to not be okay. It is okay to ask for help. It is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength, to be able to say the word help and let it come out of your mouth and it be okay.
Yes.
Because sometimes those words don't taste very good.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I need help. And it's almost like you get a bubble in your throat when you want to say it. But it's okay. It's okay, and we are not defined by our trauma.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much. We hope that you learned something. If you need any more information on it, you can contact me or Larnie, and we would be glad to help you. See you next time on Recovery Inspired Hope. Bye.